We should probably do some sort of introduction. Like, hi, everybody. I'm Patricia.
I'm Lee.
And we're weird as fuck.
Yeah, I suppose you probably should, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Because someday we might be famous. Okay. So. So you ready for March's glitches in the Matrix?
Yep.
I scoured the internet. Not a lot of glitches came up in our mailbox this time. And the ones that did weren't really very compelling. So I searched the interwebs and found some really good ones. So this one was entitled, "My Partner Just Glitched and It's Freaking Us Out." It's a wild story. So it says, "Hi, y'all. Let me preface this by saying there's always been creepy shit happening around me, and I have several stories of my dad's old house, which myself and my siblings all agree is haunted as fuck. I also had my dead best friend visit me twice, which was nice."
Okay.
We have very different definitions of nice, but okay. So this evening, my partner, male 42, and I, 30-year-old female, were upstairs sorting laundry when his daughter, 17, called us downstairs for dinner. I don't have a 17-year-old that will cook for me, so right off the bat, this story makes me jealous. I was heading down the stairs. My partner was right behind me, literally 2 steps behind me. He did his usual thing of tickling the back of my neck as we walked. We have, when you're in front of me going up the stairs, I always grab your butt. So we all have our things, right?
Yeah, I always grab your butt, so
Yeah.
It's nothing new.
So theirs is probably nicer than ours.
Yeah.
We don't do anything going down. It's going up. So the bottom of our stairs is wooden, so you can hear when somebody steps onto it from the carpeted stairs. So they have wood flooring at the bottom of the stairs, like down here where we have laminate flooring at the bottom of our carpeted stairs, so you can hear when somebody steps off onto the wood. When we got to the bottom, my feet hit the floor as usual. I turned to ask him something, and he wasn't there. He wasn't fucking there. I totally froze for a second and looked up the stairs, and there he was, on the top step, pale and shaking. I asked him what the fuck just happened, and he kept saying, I don't know. I was behind you, and before I hit the bottom, the next step took me back up the stairs." We are all very freaked out. We didn't say shit to the girl, as she is already leery of this stuff, although he and I are somewhat used to it. I'm trying to get the courage to leave my laptop recording audio overnight because there's definitely something weird happening. But she's like me. I want to know what it is, but I don't want to know what it is. Edited to add, I was just talking to my partner about the jump while we were cleaning our bedroom, and the second he made a joke about spooks a-poppin', our bedroom door and bathroom door slammed shut one right after another. I'm chalking it up to our bedroom window being open a crack. I don't want to think of any alternatives. And apparently people were commenting on their age gap, and
Of course.
she's 30, he's 42. It's 12 years. It's not much of an age gap. Also, she's 30 and he's 42. It's not like she's 30 and he's 75. That would be weird. So, shut up, people. Leave him alone. And holy shit, that would be scary as hell. Can you imagine walking down the stairs and you take a step and you're at the top of the stairs again?
It would be freaky.
I'd be like, fuck it. Whatever I needed down there, I don't need now. I'll just go into bed. It's fine. I just go back to bed. So this is a glitch that I would like to happen to me. I would very much like this to happen to me. So this one says, I've had my car since 2014. And as a poor, struggling artist, I've done minimal maintenance. So when my battery began to act up a few days ago, I thought, yep, it's about time. I called AAA to come and test and replace it, saving me from having to go to the mechanic. It costs you more. And you don't have to, maybe they don't live where we live, because Les Schwab will do it for free.
Yeah.
And if you need new
a lot of places will
do it for free. So whoever posted this, know that a lot of auto parts stores will test it for free.
And put it in.
And put it in for free. You just have to pay for the battery. So, but they're paying for AAA, so they're going AAA. The AAA tech shows up and asks when it was last replaced. And I told him I've never had the battery replaced. They've had the car since 2014. That's important. It's never given me any trouble until now. He looked it over and, obviously perplexed, pointed out that it's a AAA brand battery, and the manufacturer sticker, clear as day, reads October 2018, meaning that it was installed by AAA after October 2018. They've never replaced the battery. They've had the car since 2014. Mm-hmm. And yet, spontaneously, it grew a new battery in October of 2018. But it's still under warranty, so AAA will replace it. Now I'm thinking, this is unnerving. Have I lost a chunk of time in 2018 when my car was having battery issues? And I have no recollection of getting a new one installed, roadside by AAA? That's so absurd. So I called AAA to help fill in the blanks, and I asked them to look up the record of my battery installation. However, they tell me there is no record of a battery replacement on my account. I made no calls to AAA in 2018 or 2019, and the prior calls were for flat tires, both of which I remember vividly. I went into deep dive mode at this point, calling my mechanic, my oil change spot, and scouring my bank transactions from 2018 to 2019 for some trace of this apparent battery replacement, but there is nothing. I asked my longtime roommate to tap into their nearly photographic memory, and they assured me I had never asked for a jump prior to a few days ago, let alone had major battery issues. Now, as a logic-worshipping person, I've been completely thrown for a loop. It seems inexplicable. No memory, no paper trail, no call log, no transaction records, and a 2018 AAA battery that should not be in my car. All I could think of was that maybe somebody else called AAA.
Yeah, she loans her car out.
Well, no, if you're at your workplace or you're at a mall or whatever and somebody calls for service and AAA comes and swaps out the wrong one. But depending on the age of the car, you can't get the hood open unless you can get into the cab.
Yeah.
And AAA, when they come and do this kind of service, you need to show them your cord.
Yep.
So
he usually has to be present.
So yeah, that's the kind of glitch that I could get used to.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I could embrace that.
Get a free battery too.
Well, you have to pay a portion of it because they do depreciate the value of the battery.
And you do like Les Schwab does.
Yeah. But still, they got a deeply discounted battery.
My battery, if it fucks up, they replace it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how long, if it's within the time. Those are better batteries.
We paid a fortune for those 2 batteries.
Yep.
Because your truck takes 2 batteries.
The joys of having a diesel. That's a piece of shit.
It's not
that
a piece
breaks
of shit.
Down constantly.
I told you that it was that chip you put in it. Okay, so we're not going to...
I need power, baby.
Anybody who's been listening to this has been listening to us argue about this truck for like 2 months now. I'm sorry. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't go away. Okay, so this one is entitled Weirdness in the Rurals. This happened to me many, many years ago, back in the 70s when I was about 17 years old. A friend of mine who was married set me up with a man who was a friend of her husband's. He hadn't known him all that long, and he was renting a room from a woman in the town. The town was a small one in Wiltshire, England. He was a lot older to me, and I wasn't terribly keen on him, but we went out a few times, and I found his behavior odd from day one. Being young, I was not ever going to sleep with this man, and he never pushed the point, but he had a few weird bones in a twisted and odd way. He claimed he'd been in a speedway rider and broken them, which I accepted, but they still looked weird to me. That was a lot of background information saying basically her friend had set her up with serial killer bait who was all twisted and weird. Anyway, it was an autumn October, if I remember rightly, and I went out with my friend and her husband to a local pub and then went back to my friend's flat for a coffee. It was about 11 p.m. when I said I was going to go home, so he said he would walk with me. I'm assuming that's the weird bent guy and not the husband. She doesn't clarify.
Yeah, sounds like it should be.
We started off, it wasn't very far, about a half mile or so. We were walking through a housing estate when a pile of leaves started following us down the road. My God, I know this sounds utterly bloody stupid, but there it was following us with intent. I turned around and said to him, "What the hell is going on?" And he started to cry and say, "Oh no, they found me," and was getting hysterical. So I'm assuming it's the bendy guy. I was not very happy myself. I picked up the bundle of leaves and threw them over a hedge. I was really angry and I told him I was going. I marched off. Really, after all this time, I'm still weirded out even by typing this story. So I marched off, and he trailed behind me, still crying. In order to get to my street, we had to cross a play park. There was one streetlight near the entrance. Then a path led off across the park, and you could just see the lane on the other side, where the next light was. He caught up and took my hand. I kept walking. In the middle of the park, it seemed really dark, but the next thing I know, we're out on the other side and coming out onto the main street, when my father pulled up in his car, and he was frantic. "Where the bloody hell have you been?" he yelled. I was stunned. "What do you mean?" He said, "It's 3 o'clock in the bloody morning. I've been looking for you for hours." He'd been to my friend's house at midnight when I hadn't come home, and she had told him that I'd left at 11. The walk home shouldn't have taken more than 25 minutes at most. But there it was, 3 a.m. I'd lost at least 3 hours, even including the leaves incident. The next day, I told him I didn't want to see him anymore. He was upset, but I was in trouble with the parents, and he was just too bloody weird. There were a lot of other odd things about him that didn't add up for a man of his age. Plus, he refused to tell me anything about what happened the night before. After that, he just vanished. My friend's husband made inquiries to his landlady, and she said he just left in the night, put the rent on the table, and was never seen or heard from again. So that's my glitch story. No idea what happened to me or him. I don't think I really want to know. It sounds like pure bullshit, but it happened. Whether you believe it or not makes no odds, really. There were a few after effects. I had really weird dreams for a while and had some mood issues, but that could have all just been because I was 17.
Yeah.
So he's weeping. No, they found me. I feel bad for the guy, but leaves following you with intent. I mean, obviously they couldn't do any harm because she just picked him up and chucked him over a hedge.
Yeah, but the leaves were
Following
in
her.
the air following them.
No, they were on the ground.
On the ground
So
following
creeping
them.
along, following them.
And the whole thing, it's weird.
And her brave escort who came with her to protect her is crying. They found me.
And was crying the whole time. A manly
Useless.
man.
You know, that's misogynistic.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, I just think, if you're going to go with me and you're going to protect me from demonic leaf piles, don't sit there and cower and cry and make me fight them. Do something. Stomp on them, kick them, something. Start sobbing. Go home, you're useless.
Nothing,
Just saying,
honey.
if you're going to defend me, fucking defend me. Don't just back off. You do that. You just back off and let me go. But there's no illusion that you're there to protect me. You're there to watch the carnage and laugh.
You don't need protection in those instances.
No, I don't. And I know that. And I'm at peace with that. But you don't come with me and stand up and say, "I'll defend you," and then fucking cower in the corner.
Nope.
No. That's not going to happen.
I would defend you to my death, baby.
Against violent leaf piles.
That I would not be afraid of.
I would hope not.
I would want to film it, though. What the fuck?
Well, it was the 70s, so, not everybody had a camera in their pocket back then.
Yeah.
That's what's good and bad about our modern era. Cameras everywhere.
Yep.
Big Brother has come, and it is us. So this person says, "I think I witnessed a time traveler." So I was going to my local gas station with an ex-girlfriend to buy some snacks for a movie when we were going to watch at my place. When we were inside, I saw a very tall man, I'd say about 6'5", standing at the entrance. He was wearing a very well-done suit as well as a top hat. I'd noticed that, yeah. His back was facing us until we walked past him, and I took a glimpse of his face. He had a very unique mustache and wore some thick black glasses. He looked like a strange man from Red Dead Redemption, which is a video game. But
Okay.
with the glasses, of course. He was just standing there, looking around at the store. I thought that maybe this guy was doing it for attention, or there was some party he was attending. This is Portland. You see people dressed like that all the time. I probably wouldn't even look twice, honestly.
All kinds of fucking weird people in Portland.
I brushed it off, and me and my ex got some snacks. While I was looking at the drinks, my ex had tugged on my arm and whispered something along the lines of, "Didn't you see that guy standing by the front door?" I shook my head, yeah, and looked at the entrance to see where he was, and he was gone. I wasn't spooked or anything since I thought he left. My ex, however, changed everything when she said, "When he came through the front door, there was a jingle. How come we didn't hear it when he left?" She was right. The gas station had a bell for whenever somebody left and entered the store. I wasn't focused on hearing him leave when I was looking for snacks, but when she told me this, I also realized that the store was really quiet, and I didn't hear a bell either when I was looking. We were getting what we needed when we went up to the counter to ask the worker if they saw the man. Sadly, the worker was in the back room doing something, so she didn't see. What makes me believe this more is what the worker said. I only heard you guys walk in. I didn't hear anybody else come in at all. Me and my ex at the time weren't high. at the time. So we knew we weren't tripping. We left the store with a weird-ass feeling, and my ex didn't make it better because she kept telling me it felt as if we were being watched. Believe it or not, I'm pretty sure this dude was a time traveler. I know what I saw was a real person, and my mind wasn't playing tricks on me. Now, there are some theories on what could have possibly happened. This is what I like to think. Either the bell somehow didn't register the door opening, thus not making the sound. Of course, the downside to that is that to me and her left, and the bell rang like normal. He went to the bathroom. The downside to this is that I remember the men's bathroom door being open and pitch black inside. This was only for a brief second because why the fuck would I look inside a bathroom? But what I'm saying is that it was dark in there, which meant the lights weren't on, unless this guy likes pissing in the dark. The bell did ring, and we weren't tripping balls. Downside to this is that 3 people didn't hear the bell ring. Me, my ex, and the worker. Not to mention the bell is pretty loud. None of these would make any actual sense. This happened months ago, and I was planning to post a story on this sub earlier, but I forgot because I'm failing out of school.
Winner.
Yeah. Let's see, and he has a couple of edits in here. He says, for the people who are asking why I thought it was a time traveler instead of a ghost or something, it was his suit that made me think that. I don't know why, it just came to my mind. And edit number 2, I honestly didn't know you could ask the gas worker to see the CCTV footage. I thought there had to be a reason, and I thought my reason was stupid. So, yeah. I don't know that I would jump to time traveler, but definitely strange. All right. This one is called, This is Too Strange. Okay, so we've all had things vanish and reappear somewhere else, but this is the first time I know for certain that something has been undone or reset. It may not seem like much, but it's freaking me out, so here it goes. Wednesday, February 3rd, my husband and I are out doing some errands, paying bills, getting our taxes done, usual beginning of the month stuff. After our taxes, we head to our pharmacy to pick up 2 prescriptions, one for each of us. I even tease him for butting in when they were trying to get the meds. We do a few more things, heading home to drop off stuff along with our oldest son, who's going to watch his brothers while we go out of town. He takes in the bags from the store, 2 bags, one with meds and the other one with some treats for the boys. He sets down both prescriptions on his dad's desk. They're still there when we get home that night. I know this because I saw them and grabbed mine to put with my meds and left his where it was so I could fill his meds later. Fast forward not even 24 hours since the medicine was last seen. We're refilling his medicine container for his daily meds and we can't find the new prescription. We look everywhere, under the desk, under the bed, in the trash. It is nowhere. Now I'm panicking, trying to figure out what happened. Did the dog eat it? What will a full month's supply of blood pressure medication do to a dachshund? Ooh, that's a good question.
Probably kill it,
yeah.
I would imagine.
I would imagine so. Am I going to be able to get it refilled again? So after looking everywhere for the 5th time, my son reminds me to check our pharmacy account and see what it says. He also very clearly remembers putting 2 pharmacy bags on the desk. I pull up the records, and it says February 2021 that only my prescription has been ordered and picked up. My husband also very clearly remembers us getting both medicines, but somehow something decided his needed to be undone entirely. My husband is grateful we were able to get it filled again, but I'm freaked out totally. I've had strange things happen before, but never like this, and especially with this amount of certainty that the object reset was definitely there.
That would be weird.
That's weird, and it's dangerous too. Blood pressure medication just to go missing like that? Depending on the age of the kids, what if the kids got into it? We all know that child-safe caps are only proof against adults.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So this one is Freeway to where? Hey, y'all. I posted a much shorter version. Oh, I'm skipping that part. Okay, back in 2014, my best friend and I were driving down a freeway about 20 minutes away from town to have dinner and a few drinks in a different city. Because sometimes you just need a change of view, right?
Yes.
It was late in the afternoon, overcast, and there was some traffic, but nothing major. The freeway was surrounded by country fields and the odd farmhouse. I was searching for restaurant options on my phone while my friend, who loves to people watch, navigated and observed the drivers around us. It was essentially your standard uneventful drive. Until it wasn't. Okay, one of them was looking at their phone and one of them was looking at people. Who was fucking driving? This is what I want to know.
Not much.
Watch the road. The road. That's your only job. Sorry. Back to the story.
Well, people have a hard time doing that sometimes.
And that's why people die.
Yep.
As I'm continuing to scroll through the phone, I feel a sudden jolt run through my body. I'm not sure how to properly describe it. You know that feeling you get when you exit a warm house on a cold winter morning only to be enveloped by a very chilly breeze, momentarily making you exhale because you weren't ready for it and your body is now covered in goosebumps? It was like that. Just double the unexpected. I would also compare the sensation to the vibration you feel when climbing the track of a roller coaster, the cart making your entire body move at once due to the friction of the advancing cart over the track. But this was different. I knew my seat hadn't moved, nor had the car. The jolt I'd felt was entirely independent of my surroundings. The sensation had started from the inside of my body, stretching from head to toe instantaneously. And if that wasn't strange enough, everything suddenly felt wrong. Our surroundings looked the same, but it felt different all at once. Something about the clouds gave off a sinister feeling. As did the looming fields around us. Even the drivers around us felt like a sudden threat. I genuinely feared for my life, like I could sense something out of the corner of my eye wanting to pounce, but it patiently and cunningly waited just outside of my peripheral view. I very much felt like the prey to a calculative predator. The very air itself was a little thicker and muggy, warmer than it had been moments before. I also felt the urge to scream, but I just stared ahead while squeezing the phone in my right hand and clenching the fabric of my jeans in the other. The thing is, I hadn't been the only one to feel it. I looked over at my friend, who was squeezing the steering wheel and looking ahead with her shoulders raised and tense as if she just narrowly avoided a car accident and was still reeling from the ensuing adrenaline caused by a close call like that. I remember her looking over at me and immediately asking, "What was that?" The very question running through my own mind. We proceeded to freak the hell out. I hadn't realized I'd been holding my breath for so long. I exhaled and squirmed in my seat, suddenly feeling very claustrophobic and wanting to exit the car. My friend just continued asking the same question, but with added profanity. That sounds like us. I think we were both equally disturbed and trying to hold it together for the sake of not getting into a car accident. After 5 minutes or so of what was probably a comical sight due to our nonstop freaking out, we were able to calm ourselves down and continue to our destination. At the restaurant, we would occasionally look around nervously because we couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Not by the people at the tables around us, but just from everywhere. From something in the very air we were breathing, if that makes any sense. What's even more unsettling is how it took weeks for the paranoia to go away. And it went away slowly, a little lighter every day, until it just didn't register in our minds anymore. I mean, we never forgot about the experience, and we still talk about it to this day, but it became easier to laugh away until it became a random story we referenced when other people asked for interesting anecdotes. Or October came around and we wanted to spook ourselves. About 2 weeks ago, I randomly remembered the incident and felt compelled to text my friend about it, to which she simply replied, "Dude, I will never forget that day." I posted the story ages ago, not on Reddit, but Instagram of all places, and someone theorized that we'd somehow driven through a chemical agent without realizing it, or a pocket full of natural gas that produced a strange reaction. That wouldn't last for weeks, though.
No.
I would be lying if I didn't admit having some more out there theories that randomly wandered through my brain shortly after the incident and have stayed with me all these years. I want to make clear that I don't actually believe any of them, but they still linger all the same. When we were driving on the freeway, we somehow had the misfortune of crossing through a glitch, which sent us into an alternate reality. You know, The Langoliers by Stephen King? A little something like that, though not nearly as sinister or complicated. The fear we felt and the feeling we both had of something being after us stemmed from this new reality, knowing we didn't belong there, and being angry at our presence because timelines are sentient, right? Or the sudden jolt we felt was actually a result of us dying in a car accident, but not realizing it, and our consciousness proceeding to cross over into another timeline. Both theories have holes you could drive semi-trucks through, And they're too crazy to even truly consider, for one. I feel like that they both imply that we all have identical versions of ourselves out there in different realities, living the same exact lives, doing and thinking the very same things, because if we did cross over, the transition was seamless enough that nothing beyond our isolated, bizarre experience seemed different. And, that would be a mystery all its own. Same family, friends, goals, emotions, homes, schools. And for the second theory, what would that even mean? That when we die, we just cross over to a different timeline and continue living without realizing it? How would that work for people who have full lives and die of old age? What does our previous consciousness take over an alternate version of ourselves without our previous version knowing? Or does our previous life just suddenly transition into a new reality that didn't originally include us in any capacity? Now I just feel silly. As I said, I don't believe either one, yet they linger in my mind constantly. At this point, I just treat them like fun little thoughts meant to make light of a situation that, as mentioned earlier, I used to spook myself from time to time. So that one, I mean, you could theorize about that all day, but yeah. It's weird. It's weird that they both experience the same thing. And that feeling of dread and paranoia took weeks to go away. And if they did drive through a chemical agent, other people would have reported it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been just an isolated incident for two people in the car, because she said her friend was people watching. Apparently not watching the road, because she was obviously the one that was driving, but...
Apparently not.
Okay, and then I have one final one, and it's super short. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. This one is entitled, I Walked In on Myself. I'm not sure if this is the right place to share this story, but one day, some years ago after school, I came home as per usual. I took off my shoes at the front door and then walked towards my room to drop off my backpack. I opened the door and saw me standing on the other side of my bed, staring back at me, wearing the same uniform. I've never seen myself so vividly and from that perspective. I was just having like a 3-second stare off with myself. In that moment, though, I freaked out. I dropped my bag and I ran from the room. The interaction was brief, but honestly, really traumatic. Then I was gone, but it was the craziest out-of-body experience ever. Personally, it felt more like I was seeing another dimension. I can only presume that there wasn't a full-length mirror on the other side of the bed, because they would have known that.
No, he would have said something about that. You'd be used to that.
I don't know. We have those. We really need to replace our closet doors with something that doesn't have mirrors on them. I mean, who thought that was a good idea? But I've had a couple of nights where I got out of bed and it was just, you just wake up and your brain is not fully engaged yet. And saw my own reflection in the mirror and freaked the hell out, because who is that standing there looking at me? And then I realized, oh, that's what I look like when I first get up in the morning. It's not good. It's so mean. But anyway, I thought that was a pretty good batch this month.
Yeah, it would be strange.
A lot of strangeness.
Yeah.
A lot of real strangeness. The one that was just kind of in their heads, I think was interesting, because it's perceptive. There's no concrete evidence that anything weird happened, but the guy who beamed up to the top of the stairs, that one was freaky.
That would have been weird. Yeah. That would have freaked you out, I would think.
And 2 people experienced it, so.
Yeah, that would be weird.
I usually get to the bottom of the stairs very quickly, not the top, so. Anyway, that's March 2021. What do you think?
Pretty cool.
Are you still not convinced we live in a simulation?
Nope. I think it's just weird shit.
I'm just going to keep pounding simulation theory into your head until you believe me.
If it's a simulation, why the fuck do we have to go to work every day?
Because the programmers
Why do we have to make money? Why do we have to do all this boring shit every day at work? If it's a simulation, what's exciting about watching that shit?
Well, it's not about watching what we're doing. It's about watching how we respond to what we're doing. It's the human component that's fascinating. It's not our little tasks.
I can't see any of that being worth watching.
The Sims is one of the top-selling games of all time. It's proof positive that people will watch people do really boring stuff for entertainment. I don't know. I didn't write the program. Until next week.
Watch us.
No, don't watch us,
Follow
man.
us.
Just listen to us.
Listen to us. That's brilliant.
You don't want to see this train wreck, man. Bye.
Bye.
Want to stay connected between shows? You can find us on Instagram at WeirdAsFCKPodcast, on Twitter at WeirdAsFuckPod1, on Facebook at WeirdAsFCKPodcast. Send us an email at weirdasfckkpodcast@gmail.com, or come on over to our website at www.weirdasfck.com. There you can check out our blog, pick up some merch, look over our sources, and even share your weird experiences. You might even make it on a future episode. We would love to hear from you. Until then, tune in and keep it weird.